Welcome back to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for small business owners and entrepreneurs, where we show you how to build a successful business and to have a life too. We're going to dive into another topic that helps us make more money in less time and to get off the treadmill so we can experience a life of significance. And now, your host and the author of the #1 best-selling business book, Making Money is Killing Your Business, Chuck Blakeman.
Hi, Chuck Blakeman with you, and today we're going to talk about competition, actually the lack of it. The title of this podcast is Your Competition Isn't. And it might give you a heads up that we're going in a different direction than you might think. Let's dive in. I have learned to live in a world of abundance because scarcity thinking has a way of making people poor. Not just financially, it keeps them poor in spirit. It makes them edgy, fearful, suspicious, secretive, and worst of all, alone. And that's a tragic place to be in a world that is actually full of abundance. So let me say this clearly, your competition doesn't exist. Now, I know that sounds crazy in a business world full of SWOT analysis and market share battles. Stay with me here because this isn't wishful thinking. This is what the most successful, generous, free, and fulfilled people I know actually believe in practice. Let me give you some context. There are people out there like Peter Diamandis, a space and tech entrepreneur who regularly sends out updates on exponential technologies that are literally creating an abundant world. This isn't some kind of dreamland concept. He's tracking data. Or John Woods, who calls himself the abundance guy. He helps people get financially free by shifting their beliefs about money and building new habits rooted in abundance, not fear. And of course, there's Stephen Covey. In the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about the difference between the abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset. In the abundance mindset, there are enough resources and opportunities for everybody. You start to collaborate instead of compete. But in the scarcity mindset, life is a zero-sum game. For me to win, somebody else has to lose. That belief leads straight to a fear-driven business strategy, and fear kills. I would contend that Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer, for at least the first 20 years of Microsoft's existence, lived in a world of scarcity and fear. It worked for them to begin with, but stay tuned. During those early years, Microsoft did not focus on making great products, but on destroying competition. Famously, they created Excel with the slogan, "Do everything Lotus Notes does and do it better." Notice the focus there. It's not on their product, it's on the other guy. One internal mindset that I learned from those who worked on Excel was that they were told they weren't building great software, but that their goal was to destroy the biggest software company in the world, which at the time was Lotus. And one of their 12 unofficial, unwritten, but slavishly followed management secrets at Microsoft was total world domination. It always comes up as the first of Microsoft's 12 management secrets when you do a search for those. In contrast, Steve Jobs and Apple was famous for destroying its own products. In the early days, it regularly came out with completely new products that cannibalized their own products. I don't know about you, but it was always frustrating to me to finally get used to a product and then have them blow it up and require me to buy a new one. And then I figured out why, because the new one was better. They knew that someone was going to come out with something better, so they just did it themselves and they ate their own. As a result, Apple took over from Microsoft as the highest capitalized company in the world. Abundance won. Steve Jobs famously said, "Being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. Going to bed at night saying we've done something wonderful, that's what matters to me." When you focus on doing your own thing as well as you can, and not what others are doing that might hurt you, you have a much better chance for success. Now here's the thing. I've sold millions in contracts, both big and small, and never once did I think about competition, not once. It's just not a thing for me. I don't believe in it. And if you do, I think it's time to challenge that. Big businesses love SWOT analyses, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And what's the T? That threat is your supposed competitor, the enemy, the threat that's going to swoop in and steal all your clients. Here's a newsflash. Your only real threats come from inside your business and in your own mindset. If you believe life and business is a zero-sum game, that there's only so much to go around, then of course you have to get yours before anybody else gets theirs. Let's talk about a different mindset, an abundance mindset. I say this all the time to myself and, of course, to others. You either live in a world of abundance or you live in a world of scarcity, and whichever one you choose will shape everything you do. This isn't woo-woo crap. This is hardcore success strategy, guys. It's how the people I mentioned above got where they wanted to go. It's not about win-lose. It's not even about win-win. It's about focusing on your own best contribution to the world around you, giving it everything you got without regard to what others are doing or saying around you. But if you have a scarcity mindset that life and business is a zero-sum game, then you're constantly looking over your shoulder, you're in fear, you're playing defense. When you live in an abundant world, you build things that help other people succeed because their success is part of your success. It all works together. Let me give you another real world example. For almost 10 years, I hosted a weekly lunch with 50 to 75 business owners, and it was full of so-called competitors, a lot of people who offered similar services. If you were one of those people, you wanted to kick all the competitors out of the room who might end up talking to a potential client in the room that you wanted to talk to. But the people in the room came with an abundance mindset. They understood Zig Ziglar's famous belief that you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. We all got clients from those lunches. We all helped each other, and people would regularly say it was the most energizing, non-toxic business lunch environment they had ever seen. They couldn't put their finger on it, but I knew what it was. We all lived like there was more than enough to go around, and we all focused on what we did well and not on what the other guy might be doing to steal our clients. And we focused on trying to figure out how to help other people be successful. So why do we waste time dissecting what others are doing that might compete with what I'm doing? I think that too often it's because I don't have enough good ideas of my own. I'm not focused on making a new or better contribution or providing better customer service. I'm focused on copying somebody else's success. We don't have time or energy to play that game. Let's get busy birthing our own great ideas. That's where the energy needs to go. What holes do you see in how people are being served in your market? Fill those holes and people will run to you regardless of what the other guy is doing. You see, if you're wasting your time reverse engineering someone else's strategy or their marketing or their products, you're already behind. Because at best, you're copying something that worked yesterday. And more likely, you're copying something that they themselves maybe wish they hadn't offered. Or worse yet, you're copying something you think makes them successful, and it's a wild goose chase. It has nothing to do with what makes them successful. Sometimes other people don't even know what it is that makes their own business successful, and it's a fool's game for us to try and figure it out too. You're a terrible guesser, and so am I, and we don't need to. I've seen businesses mimic what they thought was making someone else successful, only to find out they latched onto the weakest part of that company's offering. Then they go out of business while the original company says, "Thank you, you just helped us clarify what wasn't working." As an example, in the 1970s, the failed Burger Chef fast food chain tried to mimic McDonald's fast service, when the taste of McDonald's food was more of a factor than the speed of service. Mimicking what you think others do well might be enticing, but as you may have heard me say in the past, the two last words of a dying marketing program and a dying company are, "Me too. Let me copy what somebody else is doing." If you want to disappear, just try to be like everybody else. It's the quickest way to become irrelevant. Not just because you're boring, but because it signals that you have no original mission, no passion, and no joy in what you do. There's nothing unique. You're not there to bring something meaningful to the world. You're there just to get a slice of the scarcity pie before it's all gone. And the harsh reality is this: if someone gets a customer you wanted, it just means they had something the customer needed that you didn't have. That's not a loss. That's clarity. Rejoice for the customer. They got what they needed, and rejoice for the other person. They sold what they were good at. You can't and shouldn't be all things to all people. Go find the people who need what you have to offer uniquely. As Zig Ziglar also said, if you try to be a wandering generality, you'll never be a meaningful specific. Let's wrap up here. Here's the bottom line. Get the idea of competition out of your head. It is a waste of time, money, mental, and emotional energy. You weren't built to chase somebody else's dream. You were built to create your own. Don't try to be somebody else, and don't be afraid of them copying you. As my friend Eddie Drescher says, I will be the best version of me. So focus on creating the best version of the thing only you can offer. And while you're at it, figure out how to make the other guy successful too. Not only will you have more fun doing business that way, but you'll make more money than the scarcity-driven crowd ever will. Let's live in abundance and make more money in less time. I'll see you in the next podcast.
That wraps up another episode of the Get Off the Treadmill podcast. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe and hit the like button to ensure you are receiving the latest tools you need to grow your business and to get off the treadmill. If you want more information on the 3 to 5 Club, the Crankset Group, or to book Chuck as a business advisor, speaker, or workshop leader, you can contact us at grow, GROW, at cranksetgroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.